Done Aries and Taurus. Now I'm going to talk about what happens when the sun is in Gemini. So, the sun in Gemini is, well, firstly, I guess, what is sun? Sun is your ego, sun is your core identity, sun is how your energy expresses itself in your horoscope and in your personality in general. Gemini is the sign ruled by Mercury, and it's about communication, it's about intellect, it's about being interested in new ideas, about learning new ideas, it's about defiance to authority, because remember, Mercury is the trickster. You've got like analogs to Loki, Hermes, Thoth Trismegistus. It's also about being a teacher. In the later degrees, Gemini can be either a teacher or an inventor. In the look at Jordan Peterson, who's got his sun in late degree Gemini. Look at Nikola Tesla, who was a Cancer, but his Mercury was in late degree Gemini, I think at like 28 degrees or something. Look at all these people who have been great philosophers, great intellects. They've either had, a lot of them rather, have, not all, obviously, there are other ways to be an intellectual, but a lot of them have either had their sun in Gemini or specifically in late Gemini, but maybe in early too, depending, and their Mercury there. So Gemini, you can be a teacher with your sun in Gemini. It can represent a philosopher, somebody who is like Socrates, even though I'm not sure if Socrates was a Gemini or not. I don't think he was, but either way, somebody like that who's a philosopher who's interested in accumulating a ton of knowledge. You can get a salesperson with Gemini, because Gemini is all about communication, and it's all about being able to convince people of things with your words. You can get a rapper like G-Eazy, like Only Girl Who Gets Me, I'm a Crazy Fucking Gemini. You can get somebody like that. You can get just a poet, a wordsmith, a salesperson, a philosopher. And the degree of the Gemini placement is going to determine kind of where on the intellectual hierarchy this person falls. So, for instance, if you've got somebody with a low degree Gemini sun, not to say that they can't necessarily be a philosopher, but they're going to have a harder time typically, unless they've got other placements, like their Mercury is at late degree Gemini or something like that. So basically, the journey of the sun from 0 degrees through 30 degrees Gemini is about the gaining of information. Whereas Aries, the sun is about acquiring goals and achieving things and conquering your enemies and conquering your goals in life. And Taurus is about achieving stability and experimenting with all different types of nice foods and nice clothes and nice jewelry and money and perfume and sensory input and all this stuff. Gemini is about the information. It's about gains, because Gemini is the second sign from Taurus. So in the same way that Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac, Gemini is second from the second. So it can be, a salesperson. What are they trying to do? They're trying to use their words to create more money for them, more value. They're not charity workers. That would be considered like a Pisces thing, or Sagittarius in certain circumstances. The Gemini person is a person who is obsessed with gain, who is obsessed with information, using that information to greater effects, and who can be interested also in sort of rebelliously destroying value systems as well, because Gemini is the ability to have a conversation, to have an argument. So where Sagittarius is the preacher, remember I said in the Sun in Aries video that the opposition to the sun sign, so whatever is 180 degrees away from your sun sign, the opposite sign, if you look at the whole thing on a circle, the opposite of your sun sign gets debilitated. So with Gemini, your sun's in Gemini, the thing that's going to get debilitated is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter, and that's about teachers. It's about philosophers. It's about preachers. People who are committed to one particular school of thought, one particular religion, one particular doctrine. Gemini, the symbol for Gemini is the number 2. Why? It's not because Gemini is the second sign of the zodiac. It's actually the third. Taurus is the second sign. It's because Gemini represents the ability to be polarized. It represents the ability to observe polarity, to observe like two sides of the same argument, to have an inner dialogue. So as a lot of people just have an inner monologue where they'll think something and they'll assume it's true, Gemini people are constantly second guessing themselves. They're constantly having these sort of second thoughts that allow them to like sort of look back and be like, maybe that wasn't true what I just said. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe all of society is wrong. And they're constantly questioning, because that's how you acquire new knowledge. You think for yourself and you question. These people, even though they're very intelligent, they might have a real hard time with school because Gemini represents thinking for yourself. It represents communicating your own goals. It's not about the Sagittarius like path of following a teacher and then becoming a teacher yourself. The Gemini archetype is the archetype of the trickster. It's the archetype of the jester and the rogue. A person who is not necessarily interested in following the conventional beliefs of a given society and maybe interested in creating their own, or just living by their own set of rules and not caring about society very much. So people with Gemini Sun can fall out of favor in society because they're not necessarily interested in following its beliefs, because they think twice about everything. And if you're going to blindly follow society's beliefs, you just think once. And it's like, all right, authority knows, the teacher knows, they know. Whereas the Gemini person is more like, well, I mean, they say they know, but do they really know? Or let's have a conversation about this. Why are you up there with a microphone? Come down here, let's talk. Let's have a conversation, a dialogue about what's actually going on and how you know so much. So they're naturally questioning of teachers, of authority, and of cultural belief systems, and that can get them into trouble. And it can lead to, they don't go looking for conflict. They usually have very good intentions, but they can run afoul of people and society because they think twice about everything, and society doesn't like that. They like you to follow along. So that's what happens when the sun is in the mutable air sign of Gemini. And again, if you want to know the particular flavor of this placement, look at where Mercury is, because Gemini, being ruled by Mercury, always gets an undertone of its power from Mercury. So if the sun's in Gemini, Mercury is either going to be in Taurus, Cancer, or Gemini itself. The best case scenario is Mercury to be in Gemini here. But if Mercury's in Taurus, that's the second best scenario, because this person will almost certainly be a salesperson. They will be very interested in the tone of their voice and using their tone to manipulate the other person into buying their product, and they will be obsessed with calculating and double thinking on the value of things. And second guessing, like, is this gold really worth this? Or why do people even believe in gold? Why do people want this stuff? The Gemini in the second house or if you have Mercury in Cancer, rather, which is second from Gemini, these people are going to be emotional in their communication, and you could be a great fantasy writer. You could be a great journalist, possibly. Calculate, like a reporter on dangerous things that are happening in other countries, possibly. But they're going to be a lot more emotional with their communication, and they're going to want to use communication to typically expose something that's going on, or make themselves feel more secure, or change something out there in the world. That's another thing that somebody with Sun in Gemini and Mercury in Cancer can do. They can have a very strong sense of purpose. So that's my video for Sun in the mutable air sign of Gemini. Tune in next time for Sun in Cancer. Thanks.